It is January 12th, 2026. While the world was distracted by domestic crises in the West and economic shifts in Europe, a red line was just crossed in the Middle East. We are no longer talking about tensions. We are no longer talking about sanctions. As of this morning, the rhetoric has shifted to preemptive war. President Trump has issued a 48-hour warning, stating the U.S. is locked and loaded. In response, Tehran hasn't backed down. Instead, they have announced a terrifying new military doctrine, one that allows them to strike U.S. bases before a war is even declared. Is 2026 the year the Cold War in the Middle East finally turns hot? And why are military analysts calling the last 15 days the most dangerous period since World War II? Let's dive into the crisis that is spiraling out of control. To understand why we are on the brink of war today, we have to look at what has been happening inside Iran for the last 2 weeks. For 15 straight days, the Islamic Republic has been rocked by nationwide protests. But this is not like 2022. This is not a civil rights movement anymore. It has evolved into an armed rebellion. According to the latest reports from the Institute for the Study of War released just hours ago, over 114 Iranian security officers and Basij militia members have been killed in just 2 weeks. This is unprecedented. The regime is not just suppressing dissent, they are fighting for their survival. And this is where the danger lies. History tells us that when authoritarian regimes feel cornered at home, they tend to lash out abroad to distract their population. Tehran is losing control of the streets, and to regain control, intelligence agencies believe they are preparing to initiate an external conflict to unite the country under a war banner. The Iranian Foreign Ministry is now calling this a terrorist war launched by the United States, giving them the internal legal excuse they need to use military force. But here is the part that should worry everyone. Yesterday, Iranian state media broadcasted a statement outlining a new strategy called active deterrence. For decades, Iran's strategy was responsive, meaning if you hit us, we hit you back. That has changed. The new doctrine states that Iran reserves the right to launch strikes if they detect an imminent threat. They do not have to wait to be attacked. This is a game changer. It means that if the U.S. moves an aircraft carrier too close, or if Israel conducts a cyber attack, Iran can legally, according to their own new rules, launch missiles at U.S. bases in Iraq, Syria, or the Gulf, claiming it was self-defense. This removes the safety net. One misunderstanding, one wrong radar reading, and the missiles start flying. So, how is the United States responding? Aggressively. President Trump, facing his own political battles at home, has seized on this. His tweet this morning, locked and loaded, was not just a threat, it was a signal to the Pentagon. Reports indicate that the U.S. is rapidly moving naval assets into the Strait of Hormuz. The warning is clear. If Iran tries to distract from its domestic revolution by attacking shipping lanes or U.S. allies, the response will be disproportionate. But there's a twist. Russia and China have issued statements urging restraint, but satellite imagery suggests high-level military transports landing in Tehran. If the U.S. strikes, are we just fighting Iran, or are we fighting a proxy war with the East? This isn't just a problem for Washington and Tehran. The shockwaves are hitting the neighbors immediately. In Pakistan, the border province of Balochistan is on high alert. The instability in Iran has spilled over into the Sistan-Baluchistan province, creating a security vacuum that armed groups are already exploiting. Pakistani officials are closely monitoring the border, fearing a massive influx of refugees or, worse, armed insurgents fleeing the crackdown. Furthermore, if the Strait of Hormuz is closed due to war, oil prices are predicted to skyrocket overnight. For developing economies in South Asia and the Middle East, A war next door isn't just a military threat, it's an economic death sentence. We are walking a tightrope. A desperate regime in Tehran, a combative administration in Washington, and a new military doctrine that encourages shooting first and asking questions later. The next 48 hours are critical. If the protests in Iran continue to grow, the regime may feel they have no choice but to push the button. I want to hear from you. Do you think the U.S. should intervene, or will this start World War III? And if you live in the region, are you seeing the effects yet? Let me know in the comments below.